Alright, we are back again with round 2 of the OU tournament between Ace and Feutor. Here we see a sneak peek at Feutor's team from Ace's point of view. And here we see Ace's team. Sticky Webs with Tail Glow Varion, Life Orb Greninja, I believe Scarf on Wizardmon, Life Orb on Miloetta, possibly. And I'm not sure on Victini whether it's banned or something else. We'll find out. We didn't get too close a look at Feutor's team, but I think I saw an Uzma. So that's a mon that threatens Infamon. So Infamon being a very likely lead means that Feutor might be tempted to lead Uzma to threaten big damage with a Tar Tantrum or something similar. And we do indeed see that, and Greninja is a smart, well, it's smart if this mon is not scarfed, so we've got a bit of a gamble here. Of course, this Greninja doesn't actually have a water move, which is not something that Feutor knows. So obviously low kick, while it would do good damage, would not kill. So let's see what happens here. Is it going to be scarfed? Is it going to be something else? Little bit of a turn 1 gamble. I think if it was scarfed, Tar Tantrum might kill Greninja outright. And there we go. It stays in and gets low kicked. Oof. So I wonder if Feutor was bluffing the scarf in that case. Obviously, when you lead an Uzma, Choice Scarf is the set you kind of expect. So, but I guess if you're on if you have a team that doesn't really have a switch into Uzma, which Ace does not, then staying in is really possibly your best option. Here's Rotom Wash. This could be anything. Rotom has many viable sets. I would expect physically defensive in the way it's been brought in, but it could also be Choice Scarf. We'll find out on this next turn, most likely. Of course, there's a threat of a Toxic, so yeah, that's a wise switch. Covers basically anything that Infamon wants to do. Mikella is a nice nickname there. Shout outs to Elden Ring. We see the parting shot come out, and we go into Victini. It's going to be able to take that Air Slam quite well. Doesn't get the paralysis proc, which is nice for Ace, and now we have the threat of a V-Create. Now, is this Choice Scarf? Because obviously it would get outsped by Magna Angemon, but I don't think Magna can afford to stay in any situation there. So switches out into Rotom. We see that damage. Now, if that was Choice Scarf or Choice Band, it would affect our interpretation of what this Rotom set is. It could be anything at this stage because we don't know what the Victini is. Oh, so Victini's Choice Band. Okay, so I think this is probably physically defensive Rotom then, the way it took that as well as it did. But then again, it could be just max HP Choice Scarf. That might be more likely. Okay, here we see the signature Pokemon for Ace's team, Meloetta. It's going to go right for the Relic Song and try and get some stuff going in pirouette form. Rotom, of course, handy against Sticky Web's teams, owing to the fact that it doesn't get slowed down. Okay. So, question is, how well can Magna Angemon take a return from Pirouette Meloetta? It probably doesn't die, even with the Life Orb boost, but it would come close to dying. I wonder if Feutor will gamble on that damage, or if he'll want to find a safe switch. I mean, there's not many safe switches when you look at these coverage options. Oh, so the relic song. Interesting. That was a odd choice of move there. I mean, based on that damage, return might have killed. Oh, maybe not. Probably not. It would have been close. Heavy comes in and takes the thunder like a champ. There's not really anything that, unless it's running a physically offensive set with something like Drain Punch, there's not much Wizardmon can do to Ego Magnezone. It can trick, of course, if it comes in without being locked. Tricking an Ego Mag really does mess it up, so could be not the worst play in the world in future, but right now it's going to have to switch into something. Victini would take an Earthquake, I think, but we see that Infomon's pretty safe. I would expect to see interesting taunt on what you know to be very likely Assault Vest. Is arguably a wasted turn. I was going to say I would expect Volt Switch plus Parting Shot there, but we see the taunt. I wonder if Infomon, if Ace just wanted to stay in regardless, and taunt was the only completely non-useless play it could make, so you just give up the turn in order to have Infomon in against whatever Feutor wants to bring out, and then you can Parting Shot or taunt again or Toxic or whatever. So here we have Curum Black. Probably will go for the Toxic on this, yeah. Yeah, I think that might have been actually what Ace was thinking, in which case it's quite smart. As we can see, it takes the Fusion Bolt no problem, and we can Parting Shot out. Parting Shot out to what, though, is the question. I wonder if Varion can come in and avoid a 2-hit KO. Oh, it really can, yeah. This could be time for Varion to show what it can do here. Yeah, Feutor's going to have to play pretty quickly, figure something out against this Varion. Wow, that's some damage. But the question is there any priority on Feutor's team that can benefit from that damage? Of course, Rotom actually, if it's max speed, yeah, or Magna. So yeah, I forgot. Of course, the flying types on Feutor's team can comfortably come in and revenge kill here. The question is, do you just give up the Varion at this point? I think you probably do, given that there's two Web's immune Pokemon left on Feutor's team. It's unlikely you're going to get much more value here. Yeah. In comes Greninja. Easy click on the Gunk Shot. A little bit risky. Obviously, Gunk Shot can miss, but it's probably the only thing that he's got now. Excuse me, that they've got now to Oko this month. So other than V-Create, but you don't want to take Chip on Victini unless you need to. Of course, I don't think Feutor knows what the set is on Victini yet, unless he's calculated based on the Rotom damage. Yeah. Now, do we go for the low kick here? We do indeed. Which won't kill this Magnezone, but it'll do darn good damage. In fact, it might. If this Magnezone is not defensively invested, it might kill. Yeah. Feutor plays it safe. And I think that is a pretty defensive Rotom there. Makes sense to have a physical defensive Rotom and a especially defensive Magnezone as your bulky core. They can both take each other's hits quite well. Or rather cover each other's weaknesses well, I should say. Ace is Alt-tabbed here. I wonder if it's a calc or something else. Maybe seeing how much a gunk shot will do. Rotom's one of them Pokemon that you often just have to do something at some point in the battle to just get some big damage on it, because if it keeps coming in and forcing you out, it can be hard to make progress against without hazards on the field. Like, well, damaging hazards on the field, certainly. And there are no Stealth Rocks on Ace's team, so damage is going to be the only form of progress. But obviously, Greninja being a mon that can outspeed Magna Angemon is pretty key to keeping it around. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, or rather, um, I wouldn't think it was a bad play to sacrifice Meloetta here. But no, 6 in goes for the Gunk Shot, gets the poison, does sacrifice the Greninja in the process. So just viewed that as a worthwhile trade, which it could end up being. But now the HP on the Victini is going to be very valuable, because Magna, other than Victini, is clicking Light of Ruin. I guess Infamon as well, but it has Air Slam to threaten that, so we might need to see some careful play here. Possibly it's best just to go Wizardmon to reliably finish off the Rotom. Okay, goes into Meloetta. I mean, if this outspeeds and gets the Relic Song kill, then... Hmm. Oh, wow. Just about lives the critical hit return. This is going to be a... tricky game. Because, in a way, if Feutor decides to sacrifice Magna here, you obviously have to stay in. But if Feutor decides to save it for whatever reason, switching into Victini on the Magna Zone could be a good shot, and being in a kind of a position that might require some risk from Ace here, it could be one of those turns where you need to make a risky play, but decides to go for the safe play for now. Infamon has a reasonable amount of HP left, so it's got one more good switch in it probably. Okay, does decide to save the Magna there. Gets rid of the Rotom, and here we see Dragonite. I didn't even realize there was a Dragonite. Okay. So this is obviously Feutor's late game win condition. Going straight for the Dragon Dance. Thunder obviously is not doing... Oh, well, I didn't even see which move that was, to be honest. Wasn't doing a huge amount of damage with the multi-scale. It was Shadow Ball, okay. Now, can Dragonite kill here with an Earthquake? Or, well, it can certainly kill with an Outrage, yeah. Hmm. This is going to be dodgy. Did you go into Infamon and Toxic? Is that the only play? If it's physically defensive, I think Infamon can live a +2 outrage, which is a remarkable thing to say. Maybe not. Maybe even that's a bridge too far. But it's going to be close. I think it would take 2 turns of Toxic here to finish off. Maybe even 3. If it's 3 turns, I think there's no chance. But if Infamon can live a hit and then you get the confusion and then hits and confusion, actually that might be, yeah. So that's saying that the only win condition here is to toxic, hope that you live. Oh, but of course, no, yeah, Victini would still outspeed Magnezone after a V-create drop, especially with webs up. I think, yeah. If this is physically defensive, you just click. If it's not physically defensive, it's game over. If this is phys def, you click toxic, and you just hope, or maybe you click anything because you need the confusion, and at +2, the Dragonite's gonna kill itself in confusion regardless of what you do. So it's basically at this point just a 50-50 on whether the outrage ends, and then a 50-50 on whether it hits itself. But of course, Dragonite can always switch out if it does end, so maybe even that's not enough. Because Infamon can't hurt Magna. And this is I feel like there's just a really tenuous win condition here for Ace, but I could be wrong. They're really thinking about it. And that's it. But yeah, did it get the confusion? No. Okay, so that's GG. GG. Well done, Feutor there. Ace drops to the lower bracket, and we move on to the next round.